All right, welcome to Awkward Conversations in a Cafe, in a very busy cafe. I'm here with a person, I'm sorry, Peter, it's Peter. He works at Fenbushi Capital, and we're gonna learn what he does and stuff about crypto, but nothing specific where it's financial advice. So we're just gonna learn from the broad strokes. Hi, Peter, can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Peter Yang. I've been with Fenbushi Capital since 2017, and I am based in the U.S. as part of our U.S. venture team. But for our firm, Fenbushi Capital, we have about 30 plus people. About 20 or so is based in Shanghai, but on the U.S. side, we have about 6 plus people full time. For me, I look at mostly early stage companies and mostly focusing on U.S., but I look at pretty much everything.
Okay, let's rewind.
Yeah.
How'd you get into crypto?
Oh man, so back in the day in 2013, I have this crazy neighbor. He comes over every night usually for food, coffee, tea.
Invited or uninvited?
A little bit of both. And then one day he just brings up this thing called Bitcoin.
Yeah.
At that point, I was thinking, he's trying to scam us.
Yeah.
But so I tried to convince him not to, do anything with it. So I was looking up online, reading the Bitcoin white paper and whatnot, and I realized, you know what, this could actually work.
Yeah.
But at that time, I was still in college, so I didn't really do much beyond just, looking up online and learning. And then in 2014, 2015, that neighbor said, I found the next best thing. That's the next Bitcoin.
Ethereum?
I was like, all right, sure.
You got in on the ICO?
Yep. And then, but didn't have that much money. So, and still in college.
Yeah.
But I graduated in 2015, and my parents said I have to find a real job.
Yeah.
So that's when I moved from Atlanta to San Francisco, where I work at a Japanese bank doing credit risk. Did that for 2-3 years. Then I realized, I could probably try something else for now and then come back to the bank job later. And then that's when I called up my neighbor to say, hey, can I have some advice? Trying to see if there's any new ideas or new things I can try out. And then he said, hold that thought. I'm trying to expand here back in the U.S. He said, I found this firm called Fenbushi Capital, and I need some help. So I was like, okay, sure. So I joined our U.S. team as our first hire in the U.S.
The first hire?
Yeah.
Wow.
So since 2017, I've been through a couple of cycles.
Yeah.
And so just happy to see and learn what's going to happen in the next cycle.
Oh man, that's awesome. Right place, right time, asking the right questions. Yeah. So what is your role at Fenbushi Capital?
So for me, I am a managing director at Fenbushi Capital. For me, I focus mostly on our U.S. Investments.
Does that mean like companies that are located in the U.S.?
Yes, mostly. So for me, I travel and network mostly within the U.S., but I also come to Asia, especially since most of our team is based in Asia. So for me, I figured since we have so many people based in Asia, I just focus more on the U.S. and a little bit on the Europe side.
All right, so I'm not really familiar how like these funds work.
Yeah.
Like, what does it look like? Where do you guys get the funding to invest?
Yep.
Do you guys have investors? How do they get involved?
Yep. So we have multiple funds within our firms. Our earliest fund was an equity fund that we started in 2015. And later on, we had multiple token funds and whatnot that we raised from different groups of people. For us, we don't really have a preference in terms of equity or token investments. For us, we think that we're still very early in this industry. So as long as the business model makes sense, we don't have a very specific preference.
Okay, so how do like these investors find you guys?
Right. So beyond, conferences that we go to or introductions from other funds, for me personally, a lot of my good deal flows come from founders I've supported in the past. So when their friends have an idea or want to create a startup, they kind of ask for time to brainstorm and seek some advice. So with that, usually is a little bit more solid, and then just there are different ways, but for me is from founder introductions.
So yeah, you find these ventures by referrals. So when you go to these crypto conventions or conferences, like what do you aim to get out of it?
Yeah, so for me, I always like to meet new people. So conferences is usually when new people have interest. That's how they learn about blockchain and cryptocurrency in general. In addition, for these conferences and whatnot, usually you see old friends and they will kind of update you on what they're looking at and what they find interesting. So yeah, just for conferences, mostly just network.
You find these deals, and then what's the process look like?
Yep. So usually for me, I like to learn as much as I can about the different ideas that people are building on. So usually first call is just kind of having a general understanding so everyone's on the same page. And then more for me to learn more than anything. And then depending on that conversation, the follow-up calls or conversation is mostly either diving into specific details regarding specific questions and just hashing out the uncertainties and carving out a plan forward.
All right, what are some of the red flags? I'm sure you've seen like, oh, this is not a good thing. We should not get involved with this. What are your red flags?
Since every founder and every startup is different, I would say there are so many different things I can name. But I think in terms of red flags, it's a good question.
What's like maybe some of the outrageous stuff, like, oh, I can't believe these guys are trying to pull a fast one.
No, I would say where a lot of the biggest red flag for me, I would say usually is when founders become too arrogant. It is okay to be determined, and you should, but when starting a startup is probably the hardest thing you'll ever do. So there should be always a grain of healthy fear and respect. And if for founders who will become too stubborn, they will have a hard time face solving problems and challenges later on. So I would say for most people, they should be always open to new ideas and open to criticism and leave emotions out of everything and do what they can.
Right. So if you like invest in the team, and then the founder just buys a Rolex, like, oh, these guys, this is a red flag.
Yeah, that's definitely a big red flag. And I have portfolio companies founders who spend monies where I had concerns. And so definitely one of many red flags.
Do you guys have a team like, all right, follow them on social media, see what they're doing? Keep an eye, keep some tabs.
Oh no, I try to give as much flexibility to my founders. So unless they do something outrageous, it's fine.
Okay. So what are like the big narratives you're looking at for 2024?
Oh, so for me, this year has been a year of reflection because I have been thinking about previous cycles and what we have accomplished.
Yeah.
But if you look at the cycle from 2013 to 2015, just as volatile as today.
Yeah.
But cryptocurrency as a form of payment and remittances was proven. People can send crypto across borders without any, trouble.
Yeah, like what's the fastest way to send some money across the world? Cryptocurrency.
Yep. So even though it's not a big market, it's fine. It's something. And in 2017, probably even more volatile. But with the rise of different L1s, smart contracts, we have seen a glimpse of what decentralized companies could look like. Even though we didn't really have any companies at that time built out, it planted the seed for a lot of companies that we see today that are completely decentralized. But if you look at what, the previous cycle we just gone through, what we accomplished, I can't say for sure. So for me, I've kind of taken a step back. Instead of looking at purely building infrastructure and big narratives, for me, I've taken a special interest in application and services. Think of as,
Oh, like gelato?
well, no. If we even say like a bigger picture wise, I compare what we've gone through with FTX, F0, and whatnot as our own dot-com bubble. And it's only after the dot-com bubble where we've seen Twitter, Netflix, Facebook, Amazon.
Yeah.
So we don't have those type of applications within blockchain yet. But I think those are the necessary tools for massive adoption or mainstream adoption. Think of Twitter as an example I like to use a lot.
Yeah.
The ability to send 140 characters, that technology just existed way before the internet. But so on paper, Twitter is not supposed to be a profitable or a big idea. But with every new user, every tweet that sends, Twitter grows exponentially.
Right.
So which is why, Twitter shouldn't work, but once it works, there is no competitor.
Oh, user experience matters a lot. Yeah.
Yep. So which is why I think for me, the next, for foreseeable future, I would say I'll be focused a little bit more on application services that's blockchain related.
Okay. So some hints at what to look at. So can you give us something you wish you learned when you first started in crypto?
Where do I start?
You can give a couple of things. That's fine.
Couple of things. For me, I would say a lot of the mistakes I've made was based on emotion.
Yeah.
Whether it is, not being patient enough or supporting big ideas that might be too early for an industry. So for me, I think it's really hard to stay objective. And if I have the chance, I think probably be more patient.
Very well said. Yeah. Should have also just not invested in shitcoins that held Ethereum. That's one of mine. So where do you see yourself in 5 years? Let's say everything's going amazing. Bitcoin's $1 million. You have more money than you can use. What's your day look like?
My day. Well, for me, pretty much my whole career is working within the blockchain industry. So I still think I will be doing at least something blockchain related.
Yeah.
But hopefully 5 years from now, I can probably say, I've supported so-and-so in the past where they needed help and did this and that to help the industry move forward. I probably will still be in the investor role in some capacity just because as an investor, you will be able to help founders much more directly. But if I find an idea that, I have high convictions for, I will probably do something on my own.
Very well said. Do well, keep working, just keep building. I'm glad you didn't go with the Jason Calacanakis route. Where it's as soon as I become rich and I make it, I'm going to dunk on 4 people. I'm not going that route too, but it's interesting to be a part of the technology to move it forward. And this is a great conversation. Anything you want to plug? Some socials, some team stuff?
I don't post much on Twitter, but that's probably the easiest way to reach me.
Yeah.
So Twitter will be, do I say my...
Yeah, I see your Twitter handle, because it's also a podcast.
Got it. So for my Twitter handle is @Pioneer, Pyneer.
Oh, okay, awesome. Any other parting words, advice, things you just want to talk about?
What do I want to start? I don't know. For the blockchain industry, still very young. We are in its very early days. So I think most people should be open to new ideas and allow for more experimentation and take on more risk, because technology like this, I think, is a once-in-a-lifetime or generational opportunity. So I know it is always good to have a healthy dose of fear and skepticism, but for change and transformation to happen, I think for all of us, it will be good to keep an eye out for the next generation.
Awesome. Thanks. Appreciate your time. And something outro. All right, this is it. You know, we're at this like cafe. It's kind of loud. Gonna end the video there. So catch you later.